welcome to Millennium Live. I'm Connor Toohey, and we are live here at the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas. Today we're going to be talking about recent Generation Z and Millennial studies conducted by daVinci Payments, a disruptor in the payments industry. With me today, I have Rodney Mason, the Chief Revenue Officer, and Olga Spivak, the Head of HR at daVinci. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you, Connor.
Thank you.
So diving right in, I want to talk a little bit about your findings on Gen Z and Millennials. You cite the importance of personal fulfillment as being the cornerstone to the hearts and minds of Millennials and Gen Z. Let's elaborate on that. What does personal fulfillment really mean?
I'd love to take that one. Being human resources and millennial myself, I'm honored to present on this topic because personal fulfillment is about connectedness in the workplace. It's about making sure that employers and employees have a sense of belonging. Generation Z and millennials, they are after their own purpose in the world and making a difference, and it's definitely connecting to the employers nowadays as well, forming that element of security for everyone involved.
Yeah, and I would say, in the brand world, personal fulfillment, Gen Z and millennials are looking for brands that align with themselves and, what they're seeking out in life versus a brand and identifying themselves through the brand. They want a brand that is similar to who they are and following the same path that they're on.
Sure. So if you can elaborate a little bit more on that, Rodney, speaking of self-fulfillment, how is that impacting the market for brands and employers?
So Gen Z and Millennial, they were, particularly millennials, came through the Great Recession. They kind of came into adulthood then. So they're behind other generations economically, and millennials or Gen Z is following closely behind them. So they're much more frugal, they're much more price sensitive, and they're looking for brands that align with them. So when you think about that, the ways that you have to attract them is, first and foremost, you got to have a good price in the market. And the majority believe that name brands are 25% more expensive than private label brands. So you're already starting in a hole there a little bit. But for brands to offer rebates or loyalty programs or a combination of the two work better with this generation than any other. The rebate allows you to give a best price in market, and then it also saves you money. But while you're there, because of technology, you can engage them and move them into your loyalty program and keep them much longer.
Right, and in terms of the workplace, Olga, as head of HR, how does what solutions are out there?
Yes, in the workplace, recognition of any sort definitely drives retention in the workplace, which goes back to that personal fulfillment that we started with. Personal fulfillment can be easily engaged by rewards recognition, especially when it comes to giving employees freedom of choice on how to direct their funds. So open loop prepaid solution is definitely a way to go because employees can use those funds for emergencies. They can use those funds for family needs to fill up a gas, but also they have that freedom in terms of connecting to who they are. The more employers consider that route of recognition, the more fulfilled the employees will be in the long term, driving their retention forward.
Yeah, we found in our research that they prefer the prepaid open loop for work rewards over any other kind of reward, particularly trips and travel and other things, because they like to use it the way that they want to use it.
Sure. So how do these generations discover brands nowadays?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. Gen Z and millennials are completely different from the generations before them. I already talked about how frugal they are on price. In prior generations, a name brand was something that people aspired to have, so they're not looking that way. But really, the way they discover brands are through their friends and family. It's a constant, it's just a constant feedback loop with their friends and family via social media, texting, phone calls, whatever. They're always connecting, and that's how they're discovering brands. Unlike any other generation, when you look at that top 7 list that we have in our study, television for other generations was extraordinarily important. It's at the bottom of the list. It's like number 6. At the top would be friends and family, Google, Amazon, even retail websites are like number 7. So it's really about who you know and who understands you and what brands would be right for you. So the opportunity in that is if they find a brand that they believe in or a company that they believe in from an HR perspective, they are more than willing, because they're always looking for money, to receive a reward to refer their friends to a brand or to a company.
Yeah. And being a shopper and HR professional, I definitely believe in the element of surprise. And employees love to be surprised by savings. As Rodney noted, it's definitely one of those things that drives engagement and recognition in the workplace. The more employers can surprise their employees, the more brands can surprise their customers with savings, the more return on emotional investment there is.
Sure.
Yep, and I was just going to say on surprise and delight, so they want to be, that's one of the reasons loyalty programs work so well with them. They like surprise and delight. But when you deliver, say, a rebate or something else, you can surprise them with rewards, instantaneous rewards to use, instantaneous savings to use with the reward at the moment that it's given to them. Or it could be here's a partner of ours, save on their brand. And in doing that, they love that surprise, especially if it aligns with them, so it makes them more loyal to you, but it also gives you an opportunity to reach out to partners and offer the same kind of offers to their customers, so it becomes a recruiting tool and a retention tool.
Interesting. So I'm getting the sense of all the rewards here. Now, specific to these generations, how important are, let's say, mobile payments?
Yeah, so mobile is huge. Smartphones, the Gen Z and Millennials were raised with smartphones in their hand. So it's the remote control for their life. The majority of rewards that we deliver, we call them prepaid, people call them prepaid cards. Majority of what we deliver are virtual rewards. So they're pushed to the phone, and they're instantaneous. So 13 seconds, you have your reward. While they're on the phone, when I talk about those surprise and delights or those added rewards and things that you can push, you can literally deliver those right there on the phone, and they can sit there and use them instantaneously. The vast majority, over 75%, make purchases on their smartphones weekly, so that's very intuitive to them. And the way that the rewards are pushed, they can go into Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay, but they can also go into shopping apps. That's kind of almost an expected table stakes for this generation, not just from a brand, but also from employers when they're pushing rewards.
Sure. So really, daVinci, a disruptor in the payments industry. I want to thank Rodney Mason and Olga Spivak for joining me today. All these findings that we're discussing here are available at davinci.com/insights. Is that correct?
That's correct. Just go to our website and you can click on Insights. There's a big button for it. We have a lot of different studies on Gen Z and Millennials and other audiences. But as it relates to Gen Z and Millennials, we have branding studies, we have employee and HR studies. We also have vertical specific, like the automotive industry, how they're shopping for cars and how they're looking for apartments and homes and other insights like that.
Thanks, guys, for joining us on Millennium Live today.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you so much.